Here's to
Yes,
could have been our last beer.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. I've been dying to do this. Been sitting there for the last 10 minutes.
So, let's take it all back to the origin of the relationship, where I suppose we met first, and we started talking about the whole prospect of you becoming a racing driver in the top level in terms of now, which is now British Touring Car. So I just want for people to understand the background of where that happened, and I don't, before you go into the background, I want people to understand the honesty of the background, because this guy was totally buckled when this happened, and he had lost his phone, he had lost his watch. We went back to the room in Spain after a game of golf, and we lay there and we started chatting about the prospect of life in general. And Michael came out to me, and I'm going to let Michael tell a bit about the story on that one.
Yeah, so cool. That was many moons ago now, Paul, wasn't it? And it was I remember getting on the plane, and obviously all the businesses getting on the plane and not knowing anyone, and everyone networking. And I got sat next to you on the plane, and as soon as we sat down, mate, we just had such a crack, and I knew it was going to be all right. And obviously we were sharing a room together, and I thought, oh, here we go, I'm with an Irish man who's, you know, a bit out there, and I didn't know what it's going to be like. And so the first night out, picture the scene, we're in Marbella, and I'm out with Paul, and he's got me absolutely legless. I literally couldn't stand up, and I was sitting in this big egg-shaped sofa, and my phone and my wallet and everything else had gone missing. And Paul's behind me picking up everything that I'm dropping all the way along, and then get to the end of the night, and he presents me back with my phone and everything the next day, which I just thought I'd lost and everything. So it was a bit of a crazy night. And then the next day we went down for breakfast around about 8 o'clock, and what was it we cracked open, Paul? 8 o'clock in the morning?
A bottle of champagne.
Bottle of champagne straight away. Next day, straight up for a game of golf. And it went from there, really, our relationship, I think. We just become close mates. And then obviously I was massive into my racing, and I never ever dreamed of doing racing probably back then. I started doing a bit of go-karting locally at Buckmore Park. And I said to Paul, you know, I'd love to have a future in motorsport and stuff, and never really thought nothing of it. And I started getting better and better at karting, and got to the world finals in hire karts. And then we were sitting. No, that was it. I got to the world finals, and I put it on pole in the world finals because I won the British Championship in my first year of go-karting. And then from that day, basically, I got invited to the Henry Surtees Foundation when I got back from representing Buckmore Park in France. And so I thought, I don't know whether I'm good enough to do that sort of stuff. It was Club 100 stuff, and I ended up coming back from there and doing it. And there was 25 drivers, all, you know, Ben Barnacle, Jack Aitken, all these Formula One drivers and stuff like that, you know, in this competition. And I ended up driving from 21st to 2nd overall, winning the heavyweights and the fastest lap of the day. One more. And someone's trying to ring me. Let me just put it on airplane mode. Have you got me back?
I love this live car crash TV from Michael Crees again.
You got me back. And yeah, so we got back from that, and I done really well in the Henry Surtees. And we were sitting in my office, weren't we? And John Surtees had already said to me, look, what sort of car racing do you do? And I was like, nothing. You know, I've only ever raced here at Buckmore Park. And he was blown away, and he said, look, we need to get you into a car ASAP. And so he made a few phone calls, and Buckmore Park were quite close with a company called Want to Race, which are Ginetta's G40s, and Ben Hyland from Want to Race offered me a deal, and I had to find £30,000 in a week, and obviously I didn't have the money, and it was on a Thursday, and I had to pay the money by the Saturday, or commit to the money on Saturday. and Paul was with me, and we were having a laugh in my office, and like we normally do, and just having a good crack. And he said to me, "I tell you what, why don't you phone up my boss? He loves his cars at the time," and that's how it went, Paul, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So that goes back to for those you don't know, me in terms of what the organisation, which is the British and Irish Trading Alliance, you can see it in front of you there, is. So the ethos of the organisation is people who know people that help people, and it was the practicality of just that happened there and then when I knew someone who could actually facilitate in getting Michael going in terms of sponsoring. But little did we know that Vince would go in and buy the car.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about the BITA. I've been there from the start as well. Since I met you, you just started it then, didn't you? And I remember coming to the first ever meeting up at the Chelsea Bluebird, and there was about, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 tables at the time, and it was very a low cut sort of thing, wasn't it? Just getting started, and we could see the concept was there, Paul, couldn't we? But it just needed to grow. And the thing was, you didn't do it on a backstreet cafe. You done it in the most expensive place in Chelsea. And I think that set out the ethos from where we started at BITA. And, I know that you've worked tirelessly to get it going. And fortunately now, for my racing career, it's helped massively because a lot of the people that are members of the BITA are now sponsors of mine as well. So it's been mega.
So in terms of that's all the boring stuff over with now. So in terms of like the real stuff that we want to hear about, which is racing, right? The British Touring Car Championship racing. What was the difference and the real difference between going from British Touring Car racing to the Ginetta and racing that you had done before? What was the bite that you experienced last year?
Mate, it's like, I don't know. It's like you think you're good at golf, yeah, and you can play off of, and you think you're quite handy, and you play off 2 or 3, and then you go into a competition, a pro competition, and you just served up and getting your belly rubbed, and like, see you later, mate. You ain't no good, and you realise you're in the deep end, and it is a little bit crazy. But what gets me is it's just the way the fans and the media and that, it's just different level. Going from racing Ginettas, even when I was in the G55 last year, we took 300 strong to Brands Hatch, and it was amazing. We won the championship when everyone was jumping up and down, and they'd been on the beer all day, and it was a great atmosphere. But Paul, you've seen it this year. It's just like we got 60,000 fans going absolutely mental, and a lot of them have warmed to us, haven't they?
Yeah. And what's the difference in terms of, this is a controversial type of question now, right? The difference between last year's car and what you're driving now?
Oh, yeah. Next question.
No, come on, you can't avoid any question. Everybody wants to know the honesty these days.
The honesty, listen, at the end of the day, everybody knows Tony Gillam tries, he give him credit where credit's due. He's bending over backwards to make it happen there at Team Hard, but the cars are just a bit too old, and they were a little bit too lumpy. And I know he's done a lot of work this year, but the car I drove last year, it was quite a difficult car to drive. I mean, it had a few knocks and bumps from previous years, and it's been on the grid since 2012 or whatever it's been on. And but getting into the brand new Honda Civic, the FK8 Type R, has been, it's brand new. It's done 30 races. Well, my one's brand new, and they've had a year to develop it, and it's just everything about it. It's just the engineering side of it is just incredible. And I know Team Hard are stringing it out again this year with the CC, but that's all part of the tactics for them guys, because they're looking for manufacturers to come in and support them, and it's a waste. Them cars are 250 grand each to build and buy. So, you need a small mortgage, and Tony runs 4 of them. So he's not going to just all of a sudden get rid of the CCs. But they've had their time. The MGs, they've gone now. The Hyundais are coming. it's one of them things, you know. If you stand still too long, you're just going to get eaten up. But it looks good for us in the Honda this year, because the car is just mega. It is mega.
And what was the highlight in terms of last year's season for you? What was the absolute highlight?
I don't know. You lived it with me. I mean, the points. I think it has to. Even though P9 at Silverstone was amazing, and it was you know, to get a top 10 in British touring car in any time of the season, where any team you're in, but to get it in probably the worst car on the grid at the time. I say worst car on the grid. I don't mean it's like the worst car, but that day, my balance of the car, you know, I was struggling with pace. I was struggling with everything. But to get a P9 in them conditions and drive from, I think I was 28th on the grid to P9 was incredible. But I just don't think, Paul, when we turned up at Brands Hatch, first round, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't have a clue. We'd come pretty much last in media day. It started to rain. We've decided to go on slicks, and we drove from P25 to P12 in my first ever touring car race. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, the highlight for me, by the way, is Friday night.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to join
Friday
him.
night on a race course, it was, you know, you went out and you met every fan in the caravan park and the fan zone and stuff like. And to me, seeing the reaction and seeing your reaction in terms of knowing you so well and how you literally enjoyed that moment. You were like a kid in a sweet shop. You just didn't want to leave, you know, and that's what I used to love, is Friday night.
That's it. That's so. We had that. We knew that was the thing, though, because I'm just a normal guy. You know, don't get me wrong, my background and the way, you know how it is. I mean, my life has turned completely upside down, isn't it, in the last probably, I don't know, 7-8 years that we've known each other. And for me, I used to pay to, I never used to camp, but I used to pay to go and watch touring car and stuff. And I've just never, I've never been the ones to camp or queue up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I knew that happens. And I just think to myself, without them sort of people, we wouldn't be able to do it anyway, because there wouldn't be no need. I mean, you go to British GT rounds, it's like one man and a dog. It's just nothing compared to touring car. And I just think all them fans that turn up there, they need to, you know, it would be lovely for all of us drivers to get out and meet the fans a bit more. I mean, I know it's very open already, but doing little things at Silverstone when they turn the cars around, so all the fans can see what's going on, you know.
And in terms of your personality now, which I know you fairly well, and all sides of your personality, because if when's your birthday, by the way? Is it Gemini?
Virgo, September 7th.
So I'm surprised at that, because so am I, because normally Geminis have 2 different personalities, and so I thought you definitely would be a Gemini. But anyway, in terms of that personality, you know, how do you find difficult? What part of your personality do you find difficult to adjust to becoming a professional driver?
Do you want the honest question?
I do. I want the whole. Come on, give us the honesty here. Look, you know.
My background, right? You know, I've grown up in council estates, and I've been roughed up. I've had to grow up on. I've had 4 older brothers. Do you know what I mean? I've had to grow up looking after myself. And what makes me laugh the most, and this is like, I know this is like a really weird scenario, but you turn up to a race meeting and you've got 29 other race drivers, and I know my background's different to pretty much 90% of them. There's probably 10% on that grid who's pretty much, you know, had my upbringing or seen what I've done. You know, no disrespect, put me to Tom Chilton. We're chalk and cheese. I've spent a couple of weeks with him now, and he's in awe of some of the stuff that I tell him, and he hasn't seen what my life, you know, he hasn't seen our side of the world, if you like, but what gets me is you turn up there and you've got 29 touring car drivers who think that when they're on the track, they think they're absolute, like, invincible, and they smash you off or whatever, and they get out of the car and they're all like, yeah, And you're like, yeah, all right, mate, yeah, all right. You just have to let it go and all that. But you think if they was in a pub and they come up to you and they started giving it all the, you think you wouldn't last 5 minutes, mate, would you? And that's the hardest thing for me. Is I've had to learn to bite my tongue quite a bit this year and just be happy-go-lucky. And it didn't really matter if I never did come last, but if I come last, I come last. I'm living my dream, but it does make me laugh because some of them they end up getting put in the back of a van and taken away for when they.
So, in terms of your ambitions in this season, this coming season, when it eventually happens, what's the ambitions this season? What's the goal? What's the target for you?
Just keep my head down, keep doing what I'm doing. My learning curve is like that at the moment. You know, last year it was all about the fans, the media, the marshals, learning how to drive a front-wheel drive car, coming from 2 years in a rear-wheel drive Ginetta. So, you know, that basics of what I took out of last year was great. But this year you're in with two of the best drivers, not only in the UK, but probably in the world. If you put them in any touring car, any saloon car, Tom Chilton and Josh Cook are probably one of the best in the world. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Tom's proved it. He's been on the world touring car scene and he's won races in the world. So, you know, I've got to up my game. The only way I'm going to up my game is by listening to them and learning. And I just think if we carry on with that mentality and we carry on, you know, tunnel visioned, and I've got you to deal with everybody else, and I just focus on what I'm doing, we can't go wrong. And we've proved that already in Media Day. You know, look where our head's at. You know, we turn up. You've seen it. Media Day, we're on the button. I'm turning up there. I'm fit. I'm ready. My head's ready. You know, I know what it's about. I'm not worried about touring cars anymore. I know what to expect. I know when the lights go out what to expect. And we're ready to go, mate.
Well, that's. I mean, personally speaking, that's what I've seen a massive change in you this year in terms of, you know, you listen a lot more than I've ever seen you listen, and you're taking on board a lot more as well, which is it's a wonderful thing to see happening in front of my very eyes, like, you know, knowing you so well, and it's amazing. And I think, you know, the influence of Tom and Josh. This year, because one of the two of them are mentoring you at the moment, or giving you kind of like tips in terms of how to improve in that area.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, I'm working very closely with Josh on the driving side of things because he's very, you know, his style to my style is pretty similar. When we went out to Spain, we looked at a lot of data across the, you know, it's not what you think. You just get in a car and go and drive it. You know, in Spain, we done, I don't know, 13, 14 hours a day. In the car, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. That's the comparison of being out the car, working on data, to driving the actual car. So Josh is helping me out massively with my technique. My technique's not quite there. Like Ginetta Super Cup, it's hard on the brakes, in a straight line, off the brakes, use the aero and just drive around the corner and just basically shut your eyes and just hope that it grips up and go. With touring car, you know, it's very difficult. It's front wheel drive, you've got to sort of feel the brakes on the way in. You know, the initial hit on the brake is massive, and then bleeding off the brakes and taking it into the corner. Little techniques like that, but they only find half a tenth of a second. But that's what we need to go from 10th to 5th in qualifying.
So tell me, in terms of the season now, in your opinion, what does it look like now? When do you reckon you're going to get back on the track, and what's going to happen? What can we expect?
To me, I don't know anything as gospel. I had a chat with Toka yesterday. Just said, look, is there any updates? And there's still nothing come out yet. We had to do a little video for Captain Tom Moore. See, obviously the guy who's raising a lot of money at the moment for the NHS.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
Yeah, he's a massive touring car fan. So all the drivers have done a little message to Tom, and while we was doing that, I sort of said, look, is there any idea on what's going to happen with the season? But nothing as yet. They're working on it very hard. Alan Gale wants 10 rounds. Whether that will happen, I hope it happens, because you know as much as I do, the sponsors have put a lot of money and a lot of effort into me this year. So we want to give them 10 rounds. If not, I personally think it might be 8 rounds and maybe drop in a Brands Hatch or in a Silverstone, which I'll be gutted about, because I love Brands Hatch Indy and I love both of the Silverstone tracks now. It'd be shame to see what both of them go if that does happen. But they are talking about doing night races into the night, like dusk racing. So that would be quite cool. We have enough trouble driving around in the daylight, so I don't know what it's going to be like.
So a couple of questions that we have online here, and in terms of what would a day on a track look like, and how would a client appreciate the experience?
Say that again.
So what would a day on a track like? So your track days that you do, what do they look like, and how would a client appreciate the experience?
Well, they're mega. I'll tell you what, I shouldn't really say this, but in terms of value for money, from either sponsoring my car or a track day, the track days are really, really good value for money, because say you wanna bring your company down, or you want to bring some clients, or you want to bring your own people down to say thank you for working so hard or whatever. But let's say clients, right? So you want to put a logo on the car for all season. You're hoping that logo is going to be on me, on the car. It's going to be shown on ITV4 live for 8 hours a day on a Sunday. And you're hoping that brand is going to burst out and people are going to go, oh, look, they sponsor Creasy. I'll give them a call for insurance or for whatever. If you paid and had a day out on the track, you bring them people down, and the way we're doing it, Paul, where we've got a celebrity there, you know, people like Johnny Herbert or someone like that coming down with us for having half a day experience with, and just to mill about with Johnny Herbert, just talking to him. All 10 clients will come down to the day. They will have the briefing. That I will take them out for 3 laps just to show them what gear I want them in, talk about the car, about the brakes on the Ginetta, about how and what to expect and how to feel. Then I'll come in, and once I've done all 10 of us, then we'll swap over, and then they get 20 minutes with me in the passenger seat and me coaching them, picking them up to speed. And by the 3rd session, they're on it. I'm fully lit with them. There's, you know, we stuck it in the Barrett 80 mile an hour. Passenger side in and rip the car off. That's how much I'm pushing people. Do you know what I mean? Really. So they can go as quick as they want in the end, but we just got to coach them up there. And then, you know, like they say, they get out, and then I give them. I've got another couple of professional British touring car drivers there as well. So they might get out and do a bit of data with me while Bobby Thompson's in the car, or Jake Hill, or Daniel Rowbottom. I'm going to have other BTC drivers there taking out other clients as well in the other cars. And then, like I say, like a Damon Hill or Johnny Herbert or someone will be milling around in the afternoon, and they get that experience as well. They get their lunch. It's just mega. And for you to bring your clients down to see that, you know, as a corporate day out, it's just phenomenal for what you pay to go to Jonathan Palmer and do, I don't know, half a day up there. It's the same money, you know?
Yeah. A very good question here is, do you think the fans of British Touring Car are different to Formula One?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I've been lucky enough I followed the Formula One circus around Europe for 2 years, and I was in the pit lane for every single race. And, you know, even when inside the paddock and outside the paddock, you know, I was there pretty much Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every weekend. And you're seeing the fans turn up, and, you know, you stand out on the grandstands on a Sunday and you'll watch 2 hours of racing, and everyone, you know, claps on the last lap, stands up and goes home. You got touring car, you got the people like every single lap, like hanging over the barriers. They're there, they're embracing it. They come down. They're so enthusiastic, and they really want, you know, they want to be part of it, and they are a massive part of it, of touring car, and that's the beauty of being in touring car.
And for who's your racing icon?
I've always grown up looking up to Ayrton Senna. Senna, obviously, when I was younger, he was the man. He was the man to beat, and you know, he had this weird side about him, a bit like what I've got, about the spiritual side, and about you know, I believe in loads of weird stuff, and I do the old clairvoyance and all of that sort of stuff. I believe heavily into all that sort of stuff, and he was very spiritual as well. So I've always done that, but James Hunt is more I've looked into James Hunt, and the more I've watched his career, it's a bit more like mine. So I think I'm following in the steps of James Hunt more than Ayrton Senna.
And in terms of this is going to be a lovely one now, because there's a question here that's well put, right? But I'm going to add my little bit to it as well. Your most friendly rival in the circuit and your least friendly rival in the circuit.
Okay. So basically, who do you hate and who do you like? I'd say I love racing with Jason Plato. Is, you know, it's a dream come true for me. You know, Jason's loved and he's hated. You know, he's the pantomime villain of BTCC. He's done he's forgot more than I know about touring car, and I just think JP. You know, I got quite close to him last year, and he's a good lad, and you know, he's going to be such a good crack to go out and have a few beers with, as well. And I was with him at the British Grand Prix, and we had a few beers there. And he's so funny. He's a bit like you, actually. Once you've had a few beers, and then the biggest rival, I would say, rivals are my teammates this year, Tom and Josh. That's all I've got to go for, and all the Team Hard boys. I've got to stick it up them, otherwise if I don't beat them, then then
you'll be eating your words yet, buddy.
yeah, exactly that. So I'm hoping Bushell don't come back, so I might have a chance against Fuller, because he's been out of the game for a little while. So
but speaking of weight, like you put on all this weight now, right? And you've got that ugly beard as well. You know? I mean, how are you going to manage now? You know, when you're going into the car 10 stone lighter or heavier, like, you know. So how are you going to manage with that? And on a serious note, you know, what does that do, and how does it affect when kind of one's condition runs out of control like yours is?
I'll have you know, I'm as fit as a butcher's dog at the minute. And I'm literally 12 stone 7, so I normally get in the car around about 12 stone 3. So that's fine. I'm happy with that at the minute. And I'm out running. I've done 6 miles the other day, straight off. I found miles 1, 2, and 3. Like, I felt that was it. I was just going to give up and that's it, go home. But 4, 5, and 6, I got quicker and quicker and quicker, and easier and easier and easier. So I think long distance running is probably a bit better for me than short distance. But now the weight does affect the car. We're bang on weight at 12.3, 12.2. The car has to weigh 1,012 kilos, car and driver. And we're bang on, you know, and the car's actually underweight. So what we do is we weight the corners to balance out the car. So because obviously the driver in a normal road car, you're sitting on quite a side. In the new Honda FK8, and this is what I mean about old versus new cars, the Passat, you're probably that far away from the edge of the door. The FK8, I'm sitting pretty much in the middle of the car. The seat is right over. So the weighting of the car is paramount. It needs to be equal to get the centre of gravity right for the car. So if you go in like a Tom Chilton or an Ollie Jackson, who's a big lad, and you know, you're 100 kilos, you're losing them crucial tenths or half a tenth of a second, and they really, really key. So that's why Tom Chilton's lost 23 pounds since Christmas, because he's got a chance, mate. He's got a massive chance this year. He's already won the independence title in British Touring Car. He wants to go for the overall, and the way he's working and how hard he's working, this could be his year.
And tell me the scariest moment in a car, whether it's off the track or on the track. Tell me about that. I mean, on the road, you're a nightmare.
Yeah, but I'm in control, so I'm all right. I mean, we've had a few hairy ones, haven't we, on the way to meetings and stuff. But no, I think the scariest time is honestly when I was doing the track days, in my own track days, and I was a novice coach, and we're getting in a car, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I've got no control over anything, and I've got someone who's never ever driven a race car, and we're going around Brands Hatch 100 mile an hour, and I'm thinking, hold on, this is not quite right here. Especially when the guy who stuck me in the wall at the pitch straight, we were doing 105 mile an hour, and he went from fourth gear to first gear, and it just locked the rear diff and just sent me straight into the wall. As it's gone in passenger side, so I've seen it coming, and I've just sort of shut my eyes, and I remember the initial hit, and then obviously knocked myself out, and the wheels come off, and and as I've come round, the car's spun across the track and gone into the gravel. And I know this is not funny, but I'm sitting there, come round, and all of a sudden, like, all this dust is in the car, we're in the gravel, and the guy's got out of the car and just started running. He's just legged it, he's like, run, and I'm like, what's going on now? I don't know what was going on. And I sort of come round, and then I looked up, and he's just legged it, and I'm thinking, well, my legs are all right, and my arms are all right, and I feel all right. So I managed to get out, and then we're in the. Obviously, he was so in shock because it's just it's like you hitting a wall at 100 mile an hour. I was sort of expecting. I knew what was going to happen. So we were both in the hospital after at the track. He was in bits, mate. He's been sick, violently sick. He's just in shock. He's like, body's breaking down. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, come on, let's just go out here. So yeah, it was quite funny. It wasn't funny, but it was quite a big accident. And yeah, I'm all right. So that was probably the scariest time. That's the biggest crash I've had, and I weren't even driving it.
But the last question I want to ask you, right? And I mean, I say this from a point of view of knowing you so well, right? You're the most genuine character I know in the world, in terms of your ambition, your drive. Pardon the pun. But the person that you are, and for what you've achieved is just incredible, and it's only starting in that regard, like, But in terms of the last 4 weeks and what's happened, the world is turned upside down. So what have you learned in the last 4 weeks about yourself and about everything else?
I don't want to get too dark on it, but I think I've had to keep myself focused so much and disciplined so much, because suffering from, like, I'm such a busy person, like you and a lot of people that you work with, and we're always on the go, aren't we? And then all of a sudden we've got nothing to do, and it's very easy to slip in. I make sure I get out of my bed by 8 o'clock or my back and I'll make sure that I'm ready to go and keep track, because I personally think, Paul, mental health is going to be a real big problem after we come out of this, and that's going to be another big focus for me this year. Because a lot of people are just are going to be going around the twist. People who suffer already, and people because we're very lucky. Me and you have got gardens.
I'm going to stop you there, Michael, because we've got to mute someone there because there's sound coming through, because what you're saying is is vitally important here, and there's a great message in. So is Diane there to mute? Yes, here we go. So let's go back to that point, because I don't want to lose this point. It's very important,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was pretty much we focused on it in the BITA as well. I mean, the Mind charity, and focusing on mental health and stuff like that. And I just feel, if we can get through this together, you know, when I spoke to you and you were pretty much, I actually thought, you know, you was on your deathbed. I was scared. I listened to the news, and that scares people. You know, you don't know no one knows what to expect, and if we can all get through this together and call on each other when we need each other, we can get over anything. Because this is not like I don't know. I find it really strange, because this is probably economically in the future is going to be tough for all of us. You know, I've got a business as well, not just a racing driver. And I just think if we can all get through this together, we're gonna be in the best situation. We're gonna be in the best country in the world, and we're gonna go to new levels after this.
Well, there's a brilliant comment here in terms of you describing your scariest moment, and someone said, "Might not book a track day then."
yeah. Well, I won't take. Don't worry. I've learned how to coach now, so I'm a bit better at that.
Well, listen, you know, we look forward to seeing you back on the track. We can't wait, and there's a huge support about to gush in and follow you. Of that, I'm sure. So, listen, thank you very much for taking time out today to talk to us, and let us know as soon as you can in terms of you're brilliant at keeping in touch with your fans and in Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. You do daily stuff all the time. Let us know when there's news. You know, feel free to come back online here to BITA to give us an update as well in terms of how the season is going to progress and how your life is progressing. Yeah,
100%, mate. I really appreciate all the support from the BITA, and there's a lot of people that, you know, have booked track days from you guys, and also are now sponsors of mine. And I just want to touch on that, because the thing is, for me, is, you know, I know it's tough for everyone at the minute, and everyone's got different strategies, but, you know, whether they've got to pull their reins in or whatever, but or if this is going to be important now for companies to now start re-looking at marketing for when the world gets going and stuff. And, you know, if we can help out and we can put a platform on for them, let's forget about how much it costs us to go racing, Paul. If we can help your businesses, you know, to have that extra bit of exposure on our car, whether it's payments of X amount of pounds over X amount of months or whatever, just so we can make it doable for people, we can help their companies grow. You know, we've got the best marketing platform going, mate. I'm telling you, you know, we're live on ITV4 with 125 million viewers across the world. You know, we're not a Mickey Mouse platform, and if we can put the message out to all the people, you know, on the BITA, if we can help them, we'll do it. You know, if they want to come down, they want some clients that they're right close to doing a major deal, just get in touch with yourself and we'll bring them all down. And you know how lucrative that is to convert them deals over, Paul.
Right, finally, just one quick thing before you go, right, which people love and I really dearly love, is the signature of you finishing a race, opening that door and waving. Can we expect that as a continuation that season?
Yeah, well, I've practiced it, and it's not as good because I'm right-hand side drive now, so I can't reach the left-hand door. So I'm gonna have to try and think of something new to get out of the door and on the right-hand side, but I haven't mastered that yet.
Good stuff. Well, listen.
And also, before you go, we've set up. I've told a lot of our followers that we've set up a Formula 1 2019 tonight at 6 o'clock. So I don't know what.
So can you explain how you get onto that, and we'll do that.
So in 20 minutes we'll be. I've got a league set up called Creasy 777. So you have to go onto the PS4 on Formula 1 2019. Go to multiplayer. You have to then search leagues, and it's Creasy 777, and I'll be switching it on now. So give me 10 minutes, and then if you all add into that, I can accept the first 20 people. And then we can all have a little bit of fun and half-hour race around Silverstone, and we'll have a bit of a crack.
Brilliant. We look forward to that.
And I'll be doing that for every Wednesday for a while we're in lockdown.
Good stuff. Okay,
every Friday, Friday.
Take care, and thanks very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
See you later.